In an age when the world was shrouded in mystery and every map was speckled with uncharted waters, the allure of spices ignited the imagination of kings, traders, and adventurers alike. In these days, exotic spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, and other aromatic treasures were not merely condiments. They were symbols of immense power and wealth. The promise of these rare flavors transformed distant lands into fabled realms of endless possibility. Golden dreams and whispers of unimaginable riches spurred voyages that would ultimately reshape the world. As Europeans huddled around flickering candlelight, earnest discussions on commerce and conquest intertwined with romantic legends of far-off kingdoms. Artisans and scholars debated the merits of ancient manuscripts, while ambitious navigators pored over enigmatic charts. The captivating narratives of ancient texts, entwined with the practical hunger for profit, created an irresistible cocktail of mysticism and reason. In this narrative, we trace the footsteps of those who once ventured into the unknown with nothing but faith, flawed maps, and a relentless craving for cinnamon and rhubarb. This journey takes us back to a pivotal era, where the promise of spices was as potent as the desire for exploration itself, a time when the roles of myth and reality blurred, inviting daring souls to risk everything in pursuit of glory. Each new discovery, every unforeseen encounter, and all the tangled webs of miscalculation combined to make the pursuit of spice one of the most dramatic quests in world history. Here, the stage is set for audacious dreams that spanned continents and oceans, capturing a moment when the world was on the verge of profound transformation. Long before modern satellites and precise measuring tools, the world was a canvas painted with half-forgotten myths and the bravado of ancient scholars. In this era, the accounts of legendary travelers like Marco Polo resonated deeply with those who yearned for the unknown. Stories of vast empires and overflowing treasure troves in the East fanned the flames of curiosity in Europe. Rich descriptions of bustling markets, intricate palaces, and enchanted spice-laden shores led adventurers to reimagine a world where the extraordinary was merely a ship's voyage away. Navigators clutched battered scrolls containing maps marked with mysterious symbols and islands such as Cipangu and Antillia, a testament to both hope and the errors of ancient cartography. At the heart of these tales lay an imprecise measurement of Earth's girth and an unbalanced perception of its lands. Great authorities like Ptolemy had left behind a legacy that both inspired and misled explorers, who believed that the vast expanse of the ocean could be shrunk by clever recalculation. The promise of the East was built on the notion that the route to boundless riches could be simplified to a bold westward journey, bypassing traditional and treacherous maritime routes. This blend of myth and misinterpretation created a cultural atmosphere where even the faintest suggestion of spice-infused winds could signal the beginning of a revolutionary expedition, forever altering not just trade and economics, but the very fabric of human understanding. In the bustling intellectual circles of 15th century Italy, Paolo Toscanelli emerged as a visionary whose theories would challenge the accepted understanding of global geography. In 1474, he set pen to paper and addressed the Portuguese court, boldly arguing that the golden path to the lands of spices did not lie to the south or east as tradition held, but straight ahead, to the west. Toscanelli's letter was a masterful blend of scholarly insight and irresistible ambition. His carefully drawn nautical charts, depicting enigmatic islands like Cipangu and Antillia, breathed life into ancient accounts and propelled a daring new hypothesis. While his ideas were steeped in the wisdom of Ptolemy and stridently colored by Marco Polo's adventures, they were also a product of creative miscalculation. Toscanelli interpreted the measurements of the cosmos and the Earth with such a daring optimism that his projections appeared almost poetic, a fusion of art and science. Despite the radical brilliance of his vision, his proposals found little favor among the established Portuguese authorities, whose own ambitions lay along the African coasts. Yet, it was precisely this dismissal that would later fortify the standing of his theories in the eyes of another ambitious soul. Toscanelli's work, filled with both intellectual rigor and creative storytelling, set into motion the events that would lead to one of history's most extraordinary maritime adventures, leaving an indelible mark on the pursuit of distant, spice-laden horizons. In a time when risk and reward danced on the edge of every decision, Christopher Columbus emerged as a man whose ambition was as boundless as the ocean he wished to conquer. With a heart fueled by dreams of unimaginable wealth and a mind sharpened by endless calculations, Columbus embraced Toscanelli's revolutionary proposal. He dedicated years to gathering every scrap of knowledge available, from ancient scrolls to the detailed accounts of Marco Polo. In his private study, maps were unfurled and reinterpreted with a creative twist. He cherry-picked figures from revered authorities. Columbus wove together Alfargani's underestimated measurements of Earth's circumference with the massive dimensions of Eurasia, as recorded by Marinus of Tyre, all the while selectively incorporating Marco Polo's illustrious and sometimes fantastical descriptions of distant lands like Sapangu. His logic, though flawed by modern standards, was an inspired cocktail of intuition and mathematical trickery. That convinced him, and eventually his devoted patrons, that a swift voyage westward would deliver him into the heart of Asia, replete with endless spices and boundless gold. As Columbus meticulously plotted his course on rugged parchment, every calculated kilometer was imbued with hope and destiny. His determination was not just born out of greed, but also a deep-seated need to prove that the world was far more interconnected than anyone had dared imagine. This daring hypothesis, steeped in both ancient lore and contemporary ambition, set the stage for a monumental expedition. With the backing of Spain's Ferdinand and Isabella, who, fresh from their own dramatic conquests, found in Columbus's vision a promise of both profit and prestige, Columbus prepared to challenge the boundaries of what was known. His ambition was a vivid beacon that would illuminate even the darkest recesses of the great Atlantic, driving him to risk everything in the name of discovery. On a crisp September morning in 1492, Columbus's fleet set sail from the Canary Islands, leaving behind a world steeped in old certainties for the promise of a new dawn. The voyage was marked by an atmosphere of suspended disbelief and a simmering anticipation as the ships carved through uncharted waters, propelled by hope and the distant echo of cinematic legends. Amid the rolling waves and the salty gusts of wind, the explorers marveled at the endless horizon, a canvas where myths were destined to merge with reality. As days melded into nights, the crew's eyes were fixed on the sweeping expanse, each ripple and gust carrying the promise of land. Then on October 12th, a sight that had been the subject of fevered dreams appeared on the horizon. Land, mysterious and unfamiliar, rising from the blue depths of the Atlantic. With every step taken on this newfound soil, the awe and exhilaration of discovery were intermingled with the palpable tension of the unknown. Columbus's log, filled with fervent observations, recounted not only the wonder of the first contact with indigenous peoples, but also his zealous quest for signs of gold and exotic spices. In his detailed entries, he noted the collection of curious samples, twigs he insisted were cinnamon, bundles of what he believed to be rhubarb, and other items that hinted, however ambiguously, at the treasures of the Indies. Though native customs and landscapes were vastly different from the familiar accounts of Asia, Columbus clung to the notion that the mainland lay just beyond the next horizon. Every measured foot, every symbol etched in his journal, captured the raw, unfiltered emotions of a man caught between the realms of myth and reality. This journey, punctuated by moments of breathtaking discovery and heart-wrenching uncertainty, would forever redefine the boundaries not only of maps, but also of human potential, as the explorers charted a course that bridged distant worlds in one bold, historic leap. Upon returning to Spain, Columbus's reports ignited a fierce debate within the hallowed halls of the royal court. The lush descriptions of spice-laden isles and treasure troves captivated the imagination of nobles and ministers, painting a picture of untold wealth and opportunity. Yet, beneath the triumphant proclamations lay a growing undercurrent of skepticism. While Columbus's best-selling letter burned with the fervor of discovery, experts scrutinized the samples he had brought back: cinnamon that had lost its alluring scent, ambiguous remnants of what might have once been rhubarb, and other curiosities that defied straightforward identification. Esteemed voices like those of seasoned advisors and members of inquisitive panels reminded the court that the lore of Marco Polo often bordered on the fantastical, casting doubt on the true nature of these new finds. Amid heated discussions and cautious optimism, the court was forced to reckon with Columbus's tendency to interpret every ambiguous detail as a sign of boundless wealth. The fascination with spice and gold was tempered by the realization that the exotic treasures might be more a clever mirage than a sustainable substance of riches. In this atmosphere of growing uncertainty, the promise of immediate fortune clashed with the rigorous demands of evidence. The royal decision-makers balanced hope against hesitation, recognizing that the voyage had unveiled both incredible promise and a series of confounding misinterpretations that only deepened the mystery of these uncharted lands. In the wake of Columbus's journeys, the legacy of his encounters rippled through European society like a complex tapestry of myth, commerce, and culinary revolution. The misnaming of local goods, Chile being dubbed pepper, for instance, reveals a fascinating confluence of error and ingenuity. As explorers and settlers returned with tales of new flora and fauna, the blurred lines between myth and reality began to reshape not just maps, but entire cultural practices. The lingering confusion over whether the mysterious samples were true cinnamon, rhubarb, or something entirely different was indicative of how perceptions evolved over time. In the years that followed, a generation of conquistadors and chroniclers found themselves entangled in the relentless pursuit of spice islands, their dreams fueled by a cocktail of hope and misinterpreted evidence. Yet amid the debate over treasure and territory, a subtler revolution was taking shape in kitchens and marketplaces. In kitchens, the introduction of these misunderstood flavors sparked a culinary renaissance, eventually giving rise to vibrant new recipes that were as transformative as the voyages themselves. The legacy of these early misinterpretations endures not solely in the annals of adventure, but in every pinch of spice and every daring combination of flavors that continues to redefine what it means to explore the world through taste. As the sun set on an era marked by audacity and grand miscalculations, the story of Columbus and the spice quest came to symbolize much more than the mere search for wealth. It was instead a narrative of human ambition, a dance between brilliant ingenuity and the inevitable imperfections of our perceptions. In a single journey, the melding of myth with reality gave birth to new trade routes, transformed culinary traditions, and redrew the boundaries of our world. The promise of spices, however elusive, forged a legacy that transcended the immediate rewards of gold or cinnamon, revealing instead a world interconnected by discovery and chance. Today, as we marvel at how a single voyage reshaped history, the enduring lessons of that tumultuous time continue to remind us that even misinterpretations can lead to life-altering revelations. The epic of Columbus's journey remains a timeless reminder that the quest for understanding is as rich and varied as the spices that once lured him into the vast unknown.